I wanted to try to tell a story that I recently wrote about. I've posted it a couple of times. And it was one of the ones about growing up here. I've always said that this was a special place. I will always say that this is a special place. What you're looking at, we once called the bottoms. You see the green, that area there, and there's a creek that runs almost around it. And up on the other side where the hill went up, there were more things it was planted. The creek watered it pretty well. There's tomatoes and beans and stuff that grew down here. Being down here in the woods like it was harder to keep the birds and things away from it. So our grandfather would string twine from the trees across the field down there and hang metal pipe ends from it. The movement and the noise and the glitter kept the birds and other things out of the gardens and left the harvesting for us. Growing up down here, as when we were younger, we were told, don't go in the woods alone. You're not allowed in the woods alone. It isn't safe. Anything could happen. We wouldn't know where you were. You know, all the good parental advice that kids have a tendency not to follow. There are days when the temptation just gets a little bit too strong. At that time, the newspaper was delivered in the afternoons. This one particular day, the paper had came. My brother and I decided we just had to let our grandmother know the paper was here. It was just one of those things that seemed special, sort of like the mail being delivered. The paper had came, you get to sit down, you get to look at the funnies, you get to read your favorite columns, whatever. But we had to let her know. So we go running to find her. She wasn't in the house. We looked, called. She wasn't there, so we went across the yard to the other garden that was a very good producer. You hear kids who don't like vegetables? Oh man, we loved them. I did anyway. But she wasn't in that garden, and that left one place, the bottoms. Yep, the garden affectionately known as the bottoms because it was at the bottom of the hill. Well, one of the things that we loved to do was try to find crawdads in the creek. To get to the bottoms, we had to go by the creek. What made it even easier was that this creek was spring-fed. Grandpa had drove a pipe into the ground to help the spring be more clear as it came out. He had also made rock steps going down to it. So we go down the path and, oh yeah, temptation again. Had to check to see if there were any crawdads. We didn't want the crawdads getting into Dad's minnows because crawdads had a tendency to kill the minnows. We're down and we're looking for the crawdads and we're just totally oblivious to anything going on around us when I hear or thought I heard a noise. So I kind of stop and I glance around. I don't see anything. No, nothing out there. So I go back to searching for crawdads, playing in the water. And then there it was. Maybe, was it? Yeah, there it was again. This soft, almost inaudible moan. Somewhere out there you could hear the that wasn't the wind. Quiet. Listen. It was coming louder. Was it closer? That didn't sound good. So I actually come back up the steps and I'm looking, searching the woods. It's summer, everything's nice and green and bushy and hard to see through, but looking down finally toward the bottoms, there in between a couple of trees, looking for all the world like it was in the creek, not in the creek, above the creek. Was it floating? Oh no, this was not good. And it appeared to be moving, just kind of undulating and almost dancing in the shadows and the sunlight between the trees. Oh, the moans kept coming. It's time to get out of here. And I hollered at my brother, run. Don't walk, run. What? He didn't have any clue. I don't think he had even heard it. Didn't know what I was panicked about, but it was run. Now, even at that age, as young as we were, and as energetic as we were, as healthy as we were, running uphill is not easy. And that was a fairly steep hill. But I'm pushing or pulling or running beside my brother going, run, 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 getting out of breath. It's right behind us, it's right behind us, it's going to get us. Move, run, run. But what? Run, don't ask questions, just run. And we're trying to get up the hill, trying to stay upright and run and run. And I'm swearing that the is getting closer and closer and closer. We get up to the top of the hill, burst out of the woods, hit the sunlight. My brother's like, well, I'm going to wait at ground. No, don't wait at grounds. It's going to get you. It's going to get you. Got to keep going. Run. Go to the house. Go to the house. That's where Dad's at. Go to the house. By this time, my brother had thought I had totally lost my mind. But, taking no chances, he kept going. We went running up the path till we got to the house, bursting out of the woods. We had to look like we had just totally lost our minds. Wild horses, stampeding buffalo, nothing could have topped us coming out of those woods. Monster, 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 there's a monster in the woods. There's a monster in the woods. Out of breath, at the same time still swearing there's a monster in the woods, there's a monster in the woods. So Dad, who had been painting the house, dropped his paintbrush. A cousin who was with him dropped the paintbrush he was holding. Off they went into the woods. We were trying, still fighting to catch our breath when they come back. Now, I didn't recognize it then, but looking back now, I can see the kind of smirky smile that they were trying to hide. Well, it was gone. Don't see it anywhere. We checked around, didn't see it. It's not there anymore, but just to be on the safe side, I wouldn't go down in the woods for a while. Not a problem there, Pop. Not a problem there. It was many, many years later when the truth come out that it was Grandma. She was down there in the bottoms. She knew we weren't supposed to be there, and she chose to teach us a lesson. Our grandmother, one of the original creators of Scared Straight, but scared straight in love. I'll never forget her, and I miss her.